Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to 80's night. It is 80's makeup night. And I'm excited because this is my childhood. We are entering my childhood years. I am a girl born in the 80's. And this is mine. This is my like go-to. I'm setting up another camera here. So I am so excited about 80's night, and we are reinterpreting 80's makeup for today. And so this was a tricky one, but I went back to like, what is quintessential 80's? Like, what do we see in the 80's? How do we reinterpret it? Well, so the trends we see in the 80's are a bold, graphic, neon eyeshadows. So you will see bright colors all put together all over the eye, fluffy brows. I think Madonna and Lauper. I think bold red lipstick or bright lipstick. And I think accentuated cheek color, like all the blush in the world. Those are four things that I think of when I think of 80's makeup. And so how do you reinterpret it for today so that after this, I can go out to a 16-year-old's birthday dinner? Well, you've got to pick and choose what you use. Okay. Number one, you got to pick and choose. And number two, the shades you use can help a lot as well. So we're going to play with those fluffy brows because that's actually how I like doing my brows right now. We're going to play a little bit with the accentuated cheek color, but we're going to do it in a less vibrant tone than we would have used in the 80's. And we're going to go bold with the lip. But by doing that, it means we're going to go more neutral on the eye. Now, if we were playing with a really bold 80's eye, then we would go more neutral on the lip. And that helps create that balance that allows it to be more contemporary and wearable for today. I've got to tell you, like, this has been really tricky for me to figure out what colors we're going to use because the colors I want to use are in products that I cannot show you yet. So you might need to come back on May 1st for a 80's revisited because there are some really fun products that I'm loving right now that I just can't share with you yet, but would be ones that I would pull for this decade, reinvented for sure. But we're going to go ahead and start. I hope I have all the products that I need with me. We shall see because, well, it's prom. And so my to-go bag is packed as I'm doing prom makeup out and about. So we're going to start with the brows. The first thing I did before I even got here was I did a little bit of my brow liner in brunette. The older I get, the thinner my brows or the less bold they are. And so I've already done that just to get the color in. And now I'm going to make them look big and fluffy. And I'm going to do that with my brow tint. Volumizing brow tint is great if you already have lots of lashes, but they're light or they're just not really defined very well. Brow tint helps to make them look more voluminous. Anyway, what is that? Have more volume. And it also can help just make the hairs you already have be more visible. So that's one of the things that I've noticed is that I still have hairs. They're just not as visible. And so using the brow tint helps with that as well. If you don't have hairs, then you want the brow pencil because this actually allows you to just do little feather strokes to make like little hair-like strokes. But if you already have hair, the brow tint is your friend. And then I have pulled two shades. I've pulled dark blonde and I pulled brunette. What I have found most with brow tint is I tend to go one shade lighter than I think your natural hair color is. And the reason I do that is because for most women, as they're doing their brows, if they do the same shade as their hair, so like that would, for me, would be brunette, that can feel too dark for the look we're going for. So I'm going to pull the dark blonde, and if I need a little brunette, I'll pull that in, but we're going to stick with dark blonde. So I'm going to go dark blonde, and can you see how tiny this is? This is a little micro spoolie, and we're just going to brush it in. I like to start in the middle. It's kind of like when I start in the middle with eyeliner. I start in the middle because if there's more product on the brush, it's easier to distribute out than having a huge clump of brow tint right there in the very, very front. And 80s brows are all about fluffy. And so as I apply, kind of brushing it into the brows, and then I'm also putting them where I want them to sit so they look big and fluffy. So I'm kind of brushing them up just a little bit so I get that like full and fluffy factor, and then I can come back with either a dry spoolie wand or a brow brush to brush them a little bit more where I want them. Okay, to just pencil them out. Not pencil them, but brush them out so they don't just look like crazy brows. Okay, so other eye. Now we're also doing this very first. So do you know what's going to happen when you do your brows very first? They're going to look too much. They're going to look way too much because you don't have the balance of mascara. You don't have the balance of lipstick. You don't have the balance of cheek color. And without anything to balance it out, yeah, it's going to look cray-cray. But once you do those other things, then it feels more complete. So if you try filling in your brows, and you always feel like it looks crazy, don't do it first. Do your eyes, do your mascara, do your lips, get everything else done, get your hair done, and then think, do I need some brows? Because once you do that, then it completes the picture, it frames the picture. Everything looks more complete that way. When, like this one was just more full, you can either come in with your finger, and this just helps brush it out a little bit. You know what? I don't have any pause button on my record, but I need to go deal with a dog who's roaming the office right now. I'm back. Okay. Dog dealt with. Okay. So puffy brows, fluffy brows, check. I use our volumizing brow tint all the time. The older I get, the more I need brows. It just frames the face. Brows, mascara, lips, and we're good to go. All right. Next up, we are going to do something on the eyes because we can't just ignore it. It is the 80s after all. And so for our eyes, okay, I'm going to use one of my favorite products. This is liquid eyeshadow, and I'm using our Pink Starlight, which is like a shimmery pink because it's the 80s. We need a little color, okay? But my eyes are the backdrop to everything else. So I'm just doing a little bit of this Pink Starlight. You use the wand. It's like a lip gloss applicator to pop it on your eye. And I'm just going to blend it all over my eyelid. You can use a cream brush for this too, but you, my friends, know if I can make it easy, I will make it easy. So there you go, finger. And now for our 80s eyes. I am going to make this pretty nude, but I'm doing it with pinks. So I'm going to, on top of this shimmery pink liquid, I'm going to take this light pink matte eyeshadow, and I'm using my fluffy blending brush, and I'm going to blend it into the crease to give my eye a little definition so it's not flat, but I'm going pretty monochromatic here. Okay, but see the difference between the two? Lifts it, opens it versus this. Other side, same thing. Just into that crease, and we're using that light pink because we are still paying homage to the 80s. And I'm going to do a bright pink lip. And so I don't want to do a purple. I don't want to do a blue. I don't want to do anything crazy on my eye because they're just going to be there. They're not the star. Okay. Now, we could go with a liquid eyeshadow, but we're going to be doing a lot with our cheeks and a lot with our lips. So what do? We let something else be in the background, and that's our eyes. But I am going to, again, little nod to the 80s. And so rather than doing a traditional eyeliner, I'm going to come in with this pink Sunlit Rose. It's a sparkly pink right here. And it's kind of the powder version of that liquid I put on. And I'm going to use this as my under eye eyeliner. And I'm just going to use my smudge brush to smudge it in. And then the other side. And then I need something a little bit darker on top. So if I use this light pink here in my crease, I'm going to take another shimmery shade, but no. I'm going to take a matte shade. Sorry, I changed my mind. I'm like, I don't want that shimmer on my lid. Okay, so I'm going to take this matte shade. It's called Soft Heather. And it's like a purpley pink gray situation. And I'm just going to smudge that into my lash line. It's not going to be dark. It's not going to be bold. But that little bit of extra definition at my lashes is going to make my lashes look thicker and fuller. And you can see I just pulled it just a little bit to give my eyes just a little bit of fun at the end. Same thing, other side. Okay. There we go. Blend this out. And finally, we are going to go with mascara. I can't find my big tube, so I'm going to use my little travel. This is like when you get your virtual makeover packet. This is what you get. You get the little sample size of our Ultimate Mascara. How cute is that? So you're going to get my mascara face here. Mascara, and then I'm going to top it off with lash lengthening because I just love long lashes and I don't have them naturally. And then a dusting on my bottom lashes. Just a little bit. I like to use my wand vertically there because there's less likelihood of me booping it on my cheek. No boops. Okay. Same little Ultimate Mascara first, and then come in with my lash lengthening mascara next. Okay, and then vertically. All right, I'll show you what happens when I make a boo-boo. So I got too much mascara up in my waterline there. It's like, yeah, clumpy land. So when you make a mistake with mascara, let it dry. Mascara is made to stick to hair and not skin. And so if you just let it dry, what that allows you to do is it lets you, you can let it dry. And then once it's dry, you can come in and oops, sorry, I'm trying to move this for me. There. Once it's dry, you can come in and just take it off super easily with a Q-tip. I'm distracting myself, guys. There. You can take it off super easily with a Q-tip without ruining the rest of your makeup. So that's why we're just letting it dry for a little bit. Don't let me forget to take it off. Okay, there's the eye look. We've got the 80s pink. We've just played it down a lot. We've got some fluffy brows because we're going to make our lips the star, and we're going to do something fun with our cheek color. So 80s was all about this exaggerated cheek, okay? And so typically we do blush right here, but we are going to like do this whole little thing with our blush. And to do that, to do it in a way that feels current, we're going to do it last. Do you know why? Because it'll feel like it's out of control and out of proportion, just like our brows did before I put on eye makeup. It's going to feel out of control and out of proportion without lipstick on, especially if we're doing a bold lipstick. And so once the lipstick's on and it's in place and it's bold, then we're going to have a better idea of how bold we can go with this wacky 80s cheek color placement. So I'm going to do first, before I pick my pink, I am using a lip liner. I'm doing that intentionally for two reasons. One is to keep my lipstick lasting longer. And the second is so I don't get any bleeding outside my lip line, because as you age, your lips can just have more fine lines around them. And so if you put on lipstick and you feel like it just bleeds out, lip liner can be your friend in that. It's not to make your lips look like they have a ring around. That's next week. That's 90s week. But it's to hold it in place. And for pinks, we are trying Haute Pink, Haute pink. And this is a semi-shine lipstick. We could have done red, but I love a good bright pink. Okay. All right. So there's our Haute Pink. And then we're going to take it up a notch in the land of pink. And I'm going to put a little gloss over top of it. This is Berry Delight. It's got a bit of red to it, but over top of that bright pink, it's just going to go more pink. Yeah. See? Hello. Can we put a little whatever there and I be Madonna? Okay. You know what? Music video with the bright red lipstick. Anyone? Okay. So now that we have our bold lip and an 80s, bright 80s colors, now we're ready for our exaggerated cheek placement. Okay. Ready for this? For the color, I'm not going crazy here. So I'm going to start with this lightest pink called Darling Pink. I'm going to pop it on my cheek brush. And then I'm going to pull it up. And then I'm going to turn my brush to curve around right in here. Okay. And then curve around. See that? I'm looking in the mirror too. And I don't know if you can see it as well in the camera as you can in the mirror. But it almost is just this little C shape around your eye. We're going to do it again on the other side. Do you know why we love doing this virtually? because then my dog is with me and she can totally make a mess and you don't have to see any of it. She just finally fell asleep at my feet. Pull it around. And because I just can't stop using it, we're going to finish my cheek with a little, I just got to contour a little bit. Might not be an 80s thing, but it is a today's thing and I need it. And so this is our bronzing stick in the Honey and Lester. This is a duo. One is a bronzing shimmer side and the other one is a matte. So it's got a little bit more of a contour. I'm just going to pop it right there for just a little bit. Other side, just a little bit. And then I can just buff it right under that cheek color. Just a little bit. And I use the matte because I just wanted that little bit of contour, not necessarily a lot of shimmer. But I just needed that little extra. And then you can add as much cheek color as you want. If you're like, Sally, that's not enough. And you just add as much as you need and the exaggeration of taking it up. That's why I chose this rosy, this darling pink color, because it's a light shade. When I pull it up, it's almost like, ooh, does she have a highlighter on? What does she have? Versus it just being, hey, she has tons of cheek color up and around her eyes. Like I said, I'm not trying to embarrass my 16-year-old niece in this, right? So it just ends up looking like highlighter up and around, but it goes along with the color family. And there you have it. 80s revisited. You can play with so many different things, whether you want to go for the bold eyes, whether you want to go for the bold lips, whether you want to go for the crazy cheeks or those fluffy brows. But you can incorporate a lot of it just by what colors you use, what shades you use, and how you use them. And so we did the exaggerated cheek. We did those colorful eyes, but we just did it in a pared down version and monochromatic, all pinks versus pink and orange, and blue, and right? And then went ahead with the bold lip. And I seriously may need to revisit this in a couple days. But is this our last week of? Oh, it is. So actually, maybe I'll just use the products I wanted to use for the 80s. Maybe I'll figure out how to use them for 90s week next week. But also remember that in addition to these themed makeovers, I am always up for customizing makeovers for you. And if you're not my client, your consultant is always up for customizing the color makeovers for you. And then also we love makeup, right? But it's kind of like the frosting. And so much of what we do is help you with your skincare so you have the best skin to go underneath the makeup. That is so much fun. And so if you haven't had a skincare consultation lately and you want to try some skincare and get customized packet just for you so you can have your best skin possible, don't forget to ask us for that. And we've got some skin tutorials coming up as well. So we love you. We appreciate you. Welcome to our version of 80s Reinvented. And next week, we'll see you for 90s week.